All right. Welcome to Station 5, Algebra 1. And in this station, you're going to really be looking at the beginnings of some questions called inequalities. You actually got a taste of that in the first wide top practice on last Friday. And so what we're going to do is we're going to really look at these things that look like lines, which act like lines, but there's a little bit of difference than what we studied in Chapter 2. So first of all, this is known as inequalities. Now, inequalities is exactly that, not equal. So you're going to see things like less than or greater than, or less than or equal to. And so when you get a problem like this, what I want you to be thinking about is that this really is just a line. And so notice what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to say that's y equals 3/4 x plus 2. And we're going to graph that line like we normally would. So I'm going to go up to 2. That's my starting point. My slope is 3/4, which means I'm going up 3 to the right 4. I can also go backwards. I can go down 3 to the left 4. Okay? Now, I'm going to draw on my line. And for right now, guys, I want you just to think about just drawing a line. We'll talk a little bit later about these kind of lines, but for right now, just draw yourself a solid line through your points. Now, the only difference with inequalities is this guy right here, that less than. And that means there are lots and lots of solutions to this inequality. Now, your job is to show us where all those solutions live, and it's either going to be above the line or below the line. And the best way to figure out if it's above the line or below the line is to pick a point. You can pick any point you want, but be nice to yourself. Pick a nice point, like 0, 0. And so if I let y be 0, I have y is less than or equal to 3/4 times 0 plus 2. Well, what that means now, guys, is that 3/4 times 0 is just 0, so I have 0 is less than or equal to 2. And at this point, you're asking yourself, is that true or false? Is 0 less than or equal to 2? That's a true statement. So if it's a true statement, that means I'm going to shade everything underneath that line. I'm going to shade towards 0, 0. 0, 0 made a true solution, so my shaded region contains all the answers to this inequality. And we'll talk more about that, but all that means is you can pick any point in this green shaded region and you will get a true statement when you plug it in right there. Okay, we're going to do one more, and then you guys are going to get to try a couple on your own. So let's look at number 2. Number 2, remember, if we made this just like what we did in Chapter 1, we'd get 0, or y equals 0x, notice there's no slope, minus 1. And what we need to do now is to graph that. So, minus 1 means I go down 1. And notice that our slope is 0, which means I'm not going up or down. All I'm doing is I just have a horizontal line. Y is stuck at -1. So I draw my line, my horizontal line, and again, I now have to decide, am I going to shade above that line or below that line? So I'm going to try my trick again. So I'm going to try, plug in 0, 0. So here's my point, 0, 0, right there. I'm going to see if that makes a true statement. So when y is 0, notice I don't even have an x, so 0 is greater than or equal to -1. Well, ask yourself, is 0 greater than or equal to -1? Absolutely, that is a true statement. So y being greater than 1, all of these points in my shaded region make that inequality true. Try it. Pick a point, any point. Put it in your equality and make sure if you get a true statement. Now, this is kind of your first introduction into inequalities. All we're asking you to do is to try 3 and 4 on your own. give it a try and we'll see how you did when you turn in your station packet.